When The Boys first premiered, it promised to pull the curtain back on superheroes, to show the raw machinery of power, corruption, and ego underneath the capes and marketing campaigns. But no one expected that its spin-off, Gen V, would end up redefining the franchise's most dangerous weapon, intelligence. And that's where Sister Sage steps in, quietly, elegantly, like a whisper before a storm. Her appearance in Gen V Season 2 isn't flashy. It's not even long. Yet somehow, it's the kind of scene that rearranges everything you thought you understood about the Boys universe. Because what's truly happening beneath that cameo is terrifying, not through lasers or brute force, but through sheer calculation. This theory explains the most unwanted truth you probably missed. Sister Sage isn't just reshaping the balance of power, she's rewriting the entire game board, and everyone, from Homelander to Marie, is already trapped on it. The return no one expected, and why it matters. Let's start with the scene itself. Episode 5 of Gen V Season 2. The camera lingers just a little too long on a quiet suburban house. Dean ciphers. Inside, the silence feels thick, unsettling. Then the doorbell rings. It's Sister Sage. She's holding a housewarming gift, smiling that calm, unreadable smile. To the casual viewer, it's a strange, even awkward moment. Two villains meeting on friendly terms. But the atmosphere tells a different story. This isn't about romance or even partnership. It's a test. A chess player meeting another, each trying to see who will blink first. Sage, remember, is the Boys' smartest human alive. A woman who once lobotomized herself just to quiet her own mind. Cypher, on the other hand, is a master manipulator who literally rewrites reality through the subconscious. When these two minds collide, something unsettling happens. The show stops feeling like a superhero story and starts feeling like a prophecy. This small, intimate encounter becomes a microcosm of everything The Boys stands for. The illusion of control, the arrogance of intellect, and the quiet terror of two people who think they can outsmart fate. The partnership that shouldn't work, but somehow does the writing here, is deliberate. In The Boys, Sage used the deep as a distraction, a way to cope with the loneliness that comes from knowing too much. She was above everyone, yet trapped by her own mind. But Cypher? Cypher changes that dynamic. He's not beneath her. He's parallel. He speaks her language. Ambition, precision, foresight. For once, Sage doesn't have to slow down for someone else. She can build with him. That's what makes their relationship both magnetic and terrifying. When geniuses align in the Boys universe, it's never for love. It's for power. Their alliance is not built on affection, but on utility. Cypher wants a legacy. Sage wants control. Together, they see the cracks forming in Homelander's empire and decide to drive a wedge right through it. Sister Sage's rise to power and the quiet coup inside Vought. Fast forward to the later scenes. Sister Sage isn't in Cypher's living room anymore. She's in Vought Tower, sitting behind the CEO's desk, once occupied by Ashley Barrett, calmly surveying the city. No lasers, no screaming, no speeches, just quiet domination. It's a bold narrative shift. For the first time in the Boys' history, Vought isn't ruled by a narcissist or a corporate puppet. It's ruled by intellect, cold, strategic, mathematical intellect. Fans have long debated how Vought would survive its mounting scandals, lawsuits, and political backlash. The answer was never another cape-wearing savior. It was Sister Sage. Her mind is the perfect repair tool, capable of rebuilding the company's image, rewriting history, and even controlling Homelander through subtle manipulation rather than brute force. If you thought Homelander was terrifying because of his strength, wait until you realize that he's now being managed like a PR asset. The crack in the god, Homelander's unraveling, but let's not forget who Homelander is. He's the face of American exceptionalism, the physical embodiment of perfection, at least in public. Behind closed doors, he's a storm of paranoia, insecurity, and narcissism. For years, The Boys has portrayed him as nearly invincible. Nothing physical could hurt him. Nothing emotional could reach him. He was, in essence, a god without consequence. Until now. Gen V Season 2 doesn't destroy Homelander with violence. It cracks him with intellect. It shows, subtly, that the mind is his greatest weakness. When Sage begins aligning with Cypher, she's not just forming a villain team-up, she's building a psychological weapon. Cypher's mind control experiments and Sage's understanding of behavioral manipulation could theoretically target even Homelander's psyche, the one place he's never been attacked. Think back to that moment in The Boys Season 4 where Sage whispers into Homelander's ear and he listens. That's not loyalty. That's dependency. And dependency is the first sign of control. Marie's role in the equation? The unwanted variable. The wildest part of this theory, though, is that Marie, the bloodbender from Gen V, might be the piece Sage didn't calculate. Throughout Gen V Season 2, Cypher becomes obsessed with Marie's power. Her ability to manipulate blood isn't just flashy, it's symbolic. Blood is life, identity, and power. It's also the one thing every soup, including Homelander, depends on. If Sage represents intellect and Cypher represents control, Marie represents unpredictability, the chaos that intellect cannot account for. And in every great story about gods and monsters, it's chaos that wins. Fans have noticed that Gen V keeps hinting at Marie's connection to Starlight and the wider anti-Vought movement. The alliance between the God-U survivors and the boys, resistance means one thing. Sister Sage's perfect system is about to be disrupted by emotion, the one flaw she thought she could control. The fandom's hidden panic. What fans didn't want to admit the internet exploded after the episode. Reddit threads, TikToks, YouTube breakdowns, everyone's dissecting Sage's smirk, her tone, and even her wardrobe color palette. But beneath all the hype is a quieter, more uncomfortable realization. The real villain of the boys' universe might no longer be Homelander. It's intelligence itself. Because when you strip away the powers, the politics, and the propaganda, what you're left with is a universe controlled by people who think they're too smart to fail. That's Sage. That's Cypher. That's Vought's boardroom. And the fans are starting to see it. The creeping realization that no matter who wins, the world still loses. Because intelligence without empathy always finds a way to rebuild tyranny. Connecting the dots. What The Boys Season 5 is quietly setting up. Let's map out the threads. Vought is now run by Sister Sage. She's not hiding anymore. She's the face of the Empire, and that means every crisis from here on out will carry her fingerprints. Homelander is psychologically compromised. His alliance with Sage is based on manipulation, not respect. The second she turns, he'll crumble. Cypher's experiments live on. Even after his death, his research on consciousness transfer and psychic control remains the same tech that nearly enslaved God-U students. Marie and her team are no longer kids. They're the new generation of soups, unpredictable, ungoverned, and unafraid to bleed for change. Put all that together, and you start to see the future that The Boys Season 5 might be building toward. Not a battle between good and evil, but between rationality and humanity. The inevitable clash. Sage versus Starlight. There's a poetic irony in what's coming. Starlight, who represents faith, empathy, and moral clarity, may soon find herself directly facing Sister Sage, the embodiment of logic, order, and control. It's light versus intellect. Two very different forms of power. Starlight believes in inspiring people. Sage believes in managing them. Starlight forgives mistakes. Sage weaponizes them. If The Boys Season 5 truly is the endgame, then this ideological clash might define the finale more than any laser fight ever could. And if that happens, Gen V won't just be a spinoff anymore. It'll be the prophecy that saw it coming. The hidden lesson. The smartest person in the room isn't safe either. Here's where the theory turns unexpected. Yes, Sister Sage is brilliant. Yes, she's dangerous. But Gen V Season 2 also reveals her fatal flaw, emotion. Her involvement with Cypher wasn't just strategic. It was personal. For all her intellect, Sage underestimated how human desire can cloud logic. She believed she could control affection, predict passion, and quantify connection. But she couldn't. When Cypher dies, so does her illusion of control. This mirrors a pattern across the boys. Gods falling not because they're defeated, but because they remember they're human. Homelander's ego, Butcher's grief, Huey's fear, and now Sage's loneliness. It's the show's quiet thesis. Power never breaks from the outside. It rots from within. The ending we're not ready for. So where does this leave the franchise? If The Boys Season 5 is truly the final chapter, then Sage's cameo might be its prologue, a warning disguised as a subplot. Because the end won't come from a hero's victory or a villain's defeat. It'll come from the collapse of the system itself, a system run by minds too brilliant for their own good. Imagine it. Vought's empire crumbling not from a bomb or a bullet, but from a miscalculated algorithm. Homelander's downfall was triggered not by a punch, but by a word whispered in the wrong ear. Sage watched it all unfold, realizing too late that intelligence isn't the same as wisdom. That's where Gen V quietly leads us, into a world where knowledge itself becomes the weapon that ends gods. Final thoughts. The unwanted Truth Sister Sage's cameo didn't need explosions to shake the fandom. All it took was a conversation, a glass of wine, and a look that said, "I'm already 5 moves ahead." It's the kind of storytelling twist that The Boys does best, turning intellect into menace, emotion into weakness, and cameos into catalysts. So, as we wait for The Boys Season 5, remember this: the most dangerous person in the room isn't the one holding a gun or shooting lasers. It's the one who knows exactly when to not use them. And Sister Sage? She's not done calculating. She's just getting started.